Alright, so after the simulation finishes, you'll see this little ready thing down here, but you'll be able to tell. This should pop up down here. Yeah. So make sure you're on components first. You can get a nice view of what you just simulated, and now I'll show you how. Now I'm going to show you where the data is, how to get it out, and sort of an idea of what it means. Alright, so let's just jump right into it. So the data that we're concerned with here are the scattering parameters. And basically what scattering parameters are is that they're basically R and T, reflection coefficient and transmission coefficient of this structure. And what I mean by that is that when this wave comes in at a certain frequency, so say like we did 0.6 to 5 terahertz, right? So say at like 1 terahertz. This wave is 1 terahertz frequency. It's coming in. At that certain frequency, part of that wave is going to be transmitted through to Z max, your output port. Let me give you a visual. I'm sorry, the other way. It's going to come in over here. Part of it is going to be transmitted to Z max over here, and the other part is going to be reflected back towards Z min. Now you can tell the one that's reflected back towards Z min is reflectance, whereas the one that's transmitted is transmittance. And that's what we're really getting out here. So we're trying to tell at what frequency does this screen transmit the electromagnetic wave. In other words, at what frequencies does this screen resonate at? That's really what we're looking at here. There's a lot of other things you can look at too, but anyway, that's what CST gives you. It gives you the scattering parameters. Essentially, it gives you S11 and S12, and the notation is a little bit different, but you'll see it. So anyway, to get those parameters, you need to go to the navigation tree on the left side. Then you need to go down to 1D results, click the little plus sign right there. Now you're going to see linear. This S is the scattering. So the two bars mean magnitude. So this is the magnitude of the scattering parameters. This is the magnitude of the scattering parameter in dB. This ARG is the angle of the scattering parameter. It's the angle of the scattering parameter, and this S polar is the scattering parameter in polar form. And the reason why the scattering parameters have an angle and they have polar form is that the scattering parameter is a complex value. So in other words, R is a complex value and T is a complex value. It has a real and an imaginary part, and it's very important that you export both of those values. So just to give you a little overview of the output, this is the linear magnitude of your scattering parameters, and they give you 4 in this case. Zmin, Zmax 1, Zmin 2, 1, Zmax, Zmin 1, and Zmax 2, 1. Now I'm not sure completely, but I'm pretty sure these, I know you don't, these are useless, you don't want these for our purposes. These do. I think the 2, 1 means that it's a cross polarization. I'm not completely sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. That's not what you want. You want where it has 1, 1, and 1, 1. That stands for TE. Because if you remember, back when we did this whole frequency domain solver settings, we set the mode up for TE, right? Well, you have to remember what mode you ran it in when you're looking at the output, because if you run it in TE, then you need to look for the 1, 1. That's the output that you're looking for. Whereas if you ran it in TM, transfer magnetic, then you're going to be looking for 2, 2, 2, 2. It's not here because we didn't run it in that mode yet, but it'd be 2, 2. It's 1, 1. Now, the next part you want to look at in the output is the Z-min business and the Z-max business. So first you look for the 1, 1, right? So now next you look for Z-min, Z-min, and Z-max, Z-min. Z-min, Z-min is the reflection coefficient, and basically this is the notation that you're dealing with here. This part, the second Z, the Z-min, this Z-min stands for the input, whereas this Z-min stands for the output. So this is basically saying the wave is coming in the input, and in respect to the output being Z-min, what is the spectral characteristics of that wave? Whereas this guy, Z-max, Z-min, is saying, okay, the wave is coming in from Z-min because that's where the input. It's the same as here, it's coming in the same place. But now, what are the spectral characteristics in respect to Z-max? So this is the transmittance, whereas this is a reflectance. Now, when you go to export this stuff, you don't want to export the magnitude because that's not giving you the complete picture here. You actually want to export the polar complex form. So open up polar over here and go to the same thing, Z-min, 1, 1, Z-min, and Z-max, Z-min, 1, 1. Now, to export, so now you've identified correctly what the actual data is that you need. So now you want to export it out. And typically you export, the easiest way to do this is to export it into Excel. It's very, very easy. So go ahead and open up an Excel file. Where's Microsoft Excel? So open up Microsoft Excel. Alright, so you have a book open. So it's very easy. Click on the scattering parameter that you want, in this case S11 TE polarization. Right click that highlighted thing, press copy, open your Excel, maximize it if you want, right click and click paste. Now what this gives you is the polar plot points. This column is going to be your frequency. This column is going to be the corresponding amplitude of that scattering parameter. So in this case, this is S11, the amplitude of S11. And this column is going to be the corresponding angle to that scattering parameter, S11. So in other words, this right here is one data point series in a polar plot. Then you have a next. So you can see that S11 is really a function of frequency. This right here is frequency in terahertz. This column, this is S11, and this is the phase angle of S11 because it's a complex number, right? So then you do the same exact thing for transmittance now. You just click on the Z-max, Z-min, 1, 1, Control C, or just copy, and then click in a new spot and click paste. And now you have your data points, which you can graph or do whatever you please with. And that concludes the first tutorial for CST. Thanks for listening, and good luck.